Can you believe this crap? Not only does this Chris Stuckman wannabe make you beautiful people wait this long for a review of my movie, but he also does solo a Star Wars story first? Now, of course, this tall drink of blue milk is not scruffy looking in the least and probably deserves it, but still, this is a goddamn shit. Figured you might try to pull something like this after you crashed my Avengers review. I like to think of it more as a cleverly inserted cameo, like good old Stan Lee.
Wow, nice suit.
What the? Did you just try to pull a cutaway gag in my own video? You could see that? Colossus never sees when I'm talking to you, beautiful people. Well, obviously I know there's an audience there. The entire point is to talk to the viewer. Fan-fucking-tastic, so I'll fit right in. Okay, you can help out with some of the voiceover stuff, but only if you don't swear and you keep the innuendos to a minimum. Got it? Innuendo. Oh, jeez.
From the old movies of 30 years ago and beyond,
to the world of the new films of the last 30 years.
To the movies that are now playing, this is Old, New, and Now Playing. And now, here's your host, Will Robinson Smith.
Hello and welcome to Old, New, and Now Playing, your time machine through the world of movies. I'm your host, Will Robinson Smith. Thank you so much for joining me, and I guess Deadpool today? But at the risk of overinflating his ego, let's just go ahead and get right to the good stuff. That's what she said! I'm already regretting this. Deadpool 2 picks up what feels like a couple or a few years after the first one, and despite the success of the first Deadpool, after some reports of creative differences between director Tim Miller and Fox, Miller decided to step aside, which made room for David Leitch. Leitch directed last year's Atomic Blonde and was a producer for both John Wick movies. This film had a lot to live up to after the first movie did so well, and in a lot of ways it was trying to be even more ambitious through introducing a lot of new characters, creating new action set pieces, and so much more, and I really thought that David Leitch actually did a really good job juggling all of that. With a significantly larger budget of $110 million versus $58 million, according to Box Office Mojo, Leitch was able to do more extravagant things with Deadpool and the other characters, which felt like a nice natural progression of the world. Leitch clearly has a great handle on violent action, and those big fight scenes like in the prison between Cable and Deadpool are great, as well as some later ones, which obviously I won't spoil for you. Ooh, especially the one where they bring in major spoilers! Did you really just try to give away a major plot point without warning people? Dude, negative Ghost Rider. Ooh, but speaking of Tom Cruise, moving on. I also really enjoyed the score here. Original Deadpool composer Junkie XL left the Deadpool 2 production shortly after it was announced that Tim Miller did. He took to Facebook in 2016 saying, in part, "Tim was the driving force behind Deadpool and me getting involved in this amazing project. Deadpool without Tim at the helm just doesn't sit right with me, and that is why I have decided not to be involved in the second chapter." That move made room for a man very familiar with director David Leitch, Tyler Bates. Bates worked with Leitch on both John Wick movies and Atomic Blonde, and he was no stranger to scoring a comic book movie. Bates was the composer for both the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, as well as 300 and Watchmen. I mean, can you really go wrong with a composer whose score includes great titles like Make the Whole World Our Bitch, Docking, Pity Dick, and my personal favorite, Holy Shitballs. Plus, we had the great distinction of being the first movie in history to ever earn a parental warning label on our score. You're welcome, America. And just like the first Deadpool, this one at its core is a very human story centering around the relationship of Wade and Vanessa, played once again by Ryan Reynolds and Marina Baccarin. She's the Nala to my Simba. As for the new characters, Cable was one of the big standouts to me. A bunch of different actors were considered before they landed on Josh Brolin, and I think they made a great choice. And while it wasn't used much in the movie, having Deadpool be able to reference Brolin's connection to the Marvel Cinematic Universe was pretty great too. I thought Brolin and Reynolds had a fun back and forth throughout the movie, and it had an almost buddy cop feel to it.
That's just lazy writing.
He's like the Jack Cates to my Reggie Hammond. Hashtag 48 hours. What, don't believe me? Well, that's what the director told Fandango. See? Ooh. Graphics. Domino is definitely the other big highlight of the movie. I thought that Zazie Beetz had a really cool vibe to her that played off of Ryan Reynolds exceptionally well, and she was great in every scene she was in. She found a real ease to her character that was very satisfying to watch, and having the power of luck created some cool cinematic moments, despite what Deadpool thought. Hey, I can admit when I'm wrong. Ha! The hell you can. As for the kid you see throughout the movie, Russell, played by Julian Dennison, I was a little bit mixed on him. The first time I saw the movie, It took me about until the second act to start really warming up to Russell, but seeing it again and knowing his story arc, I was a little more on board with him the second time. But for the character that was written, Dennison does a fine job in the role. As for the overall story, while it's more dynamic than the first one, you can guess fairly early on what's going to happen, but the humor and the well-crafted characters lets you quickly move beyond that. Heck, at one point the movie fully acknowledges its blunt foreshadowing, and that's part of why it works. This movie falls in line with 22 Jump Street in that it's a comedy sequel that works because it fully accepts what it is and what they're trying to do. The comedy in Deadpool 2 can be super meta and fully own up to some of the tropes they're using and gives a big wink to the audience. Because this doesn't have the complete freshness of the first movie, I can't say that it's absolutely better, but I would say that it gets right up to it. If crass humor and violence isn't off-putting, there's no reason not to see this on the big screen. Ooh, can I say it? Yeah, go ahead, you earned it. Grab a bucket of corn and some goobers, there are good times ahead. So those are my thoughts on Deadpool 2. When you've had a chance to see it, I want to know what you thought about it, so go ahead and jump in the comments, let me know, and I guess thanks to Deadpool for taking part in this video. Wait, where is he? Whoa! There's a little bit too much red, it's clashing with me. There we go. So, if you want to see some more from this kid, click either of the boxes over here, and be sure to subscribe to the channel, and if you want to see more improvements, contribute to the Patreon page. There's no Patreon page? Well, I guess that's what the kids call foreshadowing. Toodles!